I'm Caleb. Please like and subscribe.
All right, welcome back to another CryptoBROS
And a Holly Girl.
podcast.
Yeah.
All right, we got some exciting stuff today, don't we, Josh?
Yeah, for sure. So before we get started, I just want to introduce our guest. This is Katz. He is the SAFEMOON Education Manager, and we just wanted to say thank you for coming on today. And we're going to get into you and that sort of stuff here in just a little bit. But thank you for not only coming on, but for those that don't know, the time zones are completely whacked out between you and us. Normally between us being in Missouri and Holly being in Arizona, there's already a time zone thing. But with you being in another country, it took a little bit more doing, but we appreciate the effort on your part and we appreciate you being here.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So we'll get into just a few housekeeping items here, just so everybody is aware. The blooper reel launched on Wednesday. Several people have seen it already. If you have not seen it, then I would suggest checking it out because it's pretty funny. And in the tweet we sent out, it was, feel free to laugh at us and with us. But for the majority of it, you're going to be laughing at us, I think. So,
Yeah, that's the kid.
but check that out. We did get the playlist uploaded with the HOLLITIVITY segment coming out just by itself, and Caleb's choice and the taste test. So for if the longer podcast isn't your, to use Holly's words, jam, then you can check out those little segments. So, and I also wanted to say is we got a few surprises coming out too that I can't really get into them because we want to confirm dates and things like that. But there's some really cool stuff coming up on the podcast that I'm super stoked for, including our Halloween episode, which, once again, I'm not going to get into details, but I promise you are not going to want to miss it. So, but I'll take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the DMs. And just thank you for accepting this into the community. It means a ton to us. So now I wanted to get into what's some of the things that are going on in crypto.
Yeah, what's going on?
We are still anticipating the BNB MP launch. We don't know when that's going to be. I want to give a quick shout out to Gotti for the video he put out a couple days ago. I believe he was in his car and letting people know that, hey, yes, I was giving clues. I was trying to make everyone happy. It didn't work out, and this is why we don't do that. Some people are still going to be mad, so be it. I appreciate the transparency. So I know everybody is waiting around like this. Can't wait for it to launch, but all in due time, A project that we've kept an eye on for a while, and hopefully people have been able to check it out, is the Dfs Mafia Project. They did go V2 last weekend. That contract changed the reflections from it reflecting in itself to reflecting in BUSD. One of the main reasons they did that is because if you hold over 100 million tokens, you will get profit sharing. And they didn't want to do that in its native token. They wanted to do that in a stablecoin in BUSD. And with that being said, their platform is now going to launch Sunday. So it was supposed to be a couple weeks ago. They realized, I guess, when they got into the contract that they needed to wait until they went V2 before they launched it. So check out their Twitter page. All the information you would need is there. But definitely something, especially if you're a sports fan, something that you should check out. It's something that's unique that we don't see in other projects so much. So then on that same note, Glow came out yesterday, and they're announced that they're coming out with a V3 token, which I don't know much about. I don't know that a lot of people know a lot about it, but Brian in his tweet had said that they decided they needed to pivot and do some things. I just think it's awesome that once again, people aren't sticking with, I don't want to say stale, but just that old mindset of, well, this is why we started, this is how we have to end. Instead, they're moving forward. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because all of a sudden I forgot, I think that was supposed to come out within like the month if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember, Holly?
There hasn't actually been a time frame.
Okay, maybe it was
as
something else I
They are
read.
working on it, yeah, but they are coming. It's going to be a proxy contract so that they have the ability to pivot as needed,
Okay.
which is great. They are going to add some additional things to that contract. So I'm really excited for them. I think too. Am I frozen?
little bit.
We can hear your voice, but you did freeze.
Oh, yeah. So no.
There you
I
go.
was
You're
just
back.
Okay, woo! So no, I was just saying that, yeah, they are coming out with it. There is no time frame as they're still working on it.
Okay.
Cool. And
So you were
then
wrong.
Grove is touting coming out on another exchange, which they've already launched on several, and then they're coming out. I believe they said it was another top 10 exchange. Don't have time frames on when that's going to be, but usually when they put something out there, it's usually within, I would say, 7 to 10 days, as long as they can control it. So we have a lot of projects, even in this bear market, that are moving forward, and they're still setting themselves up, I believe, to be in a good position whenever the market turns. So even though there have been a lot of red candles lately, I think that the people in the community are going to be in a good spot whenever the market does turn. So, and speaking of that, since we do have Cats on, I wanted to touch base on the Orbital Shield. So there's been a lot of beta testing going on, and I've seen, because none of us, just for the record, are a part of that, but I've seen a lot of updates. People saying, well, now it's V whatever version it may be coming out. So it sounds like to me that they're listening to the feedback. They're correcting things that they think need to be corrected and building towards whatever that ultimate end goal would be. So that's just what we know about, so who knows what's going on in the background too. But to see that also means they should be in a really good position whenever the market turns and the cream rises to the top. So with that being said, we're going to get into our guests, because I'm really excited to have you on. And once again, I know I said it before, but I appreciate you joining us. And Holly's super excited. I see her on the TV.
I'm so excited.
But Cats, I want to give you the opportunity to just kind of introduce yourself, kind of what it is that you do for SAFEMOON, and anything else that you want to talk about. And then I'll ask you some questions.
Sure. So I'm Katz. I've been with SAFEMOON officially employed for just over 12 months now. We're coming on 13 months. So I've been with them for just over a year. And yeah, it all started with me just wanting answers. And there was no place to go. With SAFEMOON in its early days, there was no information anywhere on it because it was new. And I wanted to try and find those answers in any way that I could. And it got to the point where I learned everything that I felt I needed to know about the project at the time. And I was like, people are asking me questions. So the easiest way for me to kind of give people an answer was SAFEMOON.education. And I built the site, built the domain, got it all up and running in a couple of days. I'm not a website developer. So, hopefully now we can get this revamped or more on brand with the new projects, with the revamp of the website and stuff like that when it comes out. And yeah, it was just, I wanted to give people the information, and I always have. Ever since a young kid, I've always wanted to help other people, especially in high school when people were struggling. It was just annoying that, there was only one teacher. So then I ended up becoming a teacher's pet, I would suppose, if you want to say that. But yeah, so it's always been in my nature, and this has just been able to give me an opportunity to do that in a completely different way. And yeah, education is key, especially as we start to whisper the words mass adoption. And as we get into that entire space of just excited, it is an exciting space to be in, because there's so much innovation, there's so much development going on across the globe that it's hard to keep track, and you need that information. So I'm glad that I've been able to facilitate that, at least on SAFEMOON's behalf, and continue to do that for SAFEMOON.
Yeah, and you know,
Fun fact.
yeah, go ahead.
So, fun fact about how I met Katz was actually through Spaces, far before he was part of SafeMoon. And when we would get, we would have discussions that a lot of people couldn't answer. We'd be like, well, Katz is in the room, but at this time he was not Katz, he was Dark Titan. So, yes. And so, we would say, he's in the room, let's ask him, because we knew that Katz kind of did his research and did his, he knew everything. So he was our go-to when we would have these deep discussions with other people as to why SafeMoon was the place to go. So yeah, Katz and I have been friends for a long time, and that is why I'm so excited he's here.
Well, Katz, let me ask you this just out of pure ignorance on my part. So you started this and then you went to work for SafeMoon? Is that how that happened?
Yeah, so I was very heavily in their Discord. I was always in their VC, the voice chat, and it was a fight to get in their channels because they did cap their channels during the peak of 25 to 30, and there was always people staying in there overnight, leaving their PCs on and stuff like that. And in there we had, because everyone wanted to fight to be in there because it was where everyone wanted to be. And over time, as people started to filter through, you had people asking these questions. Oh, what's happening here? What's going on with this? Why are they doing this? And it was just trying to answer those questions. And it got to a point where I was like, this needs to be more efficient. There's something needs to be done, because at the time they had their website, but there was no additional content to be added with trying to explain either tokenomics, break the tokenomics down. And I just wanted to facilitate that, which is what I did. So one evening I got up, built the best thing that I could at the time, and yeah, it ran and it did its job. And as people came in, I just kept pointing them towards it, and that was kind of it for a while. And then it got towards August last year, and I was like, I'm gonna try and push this to the team. And I pushed it their way, and they were like, oh, okay. And it then started conversations internally, and then they decided to bring me on to continue to do this as an employee. And it's developed itself, gone through 3 iterations so far of the site. Now we have a team of 4 on the education side, and I couldn't be happier with the team, especially, I'm going to name them, Momo, Pulse, and Gandalf, all astronomical people in the space and brilliant employees for their work ethic and everything that they do. So to say this here is, I can't appreciate them enough for being a part of this with me.
Yeah, that actually kind of touched on something I was going to ask you, but with you saying that, just a thought that popped into my head. I think it's really cool that they would go that route to go with a community member that had put that much time into it, because with their resources, they very well could have just said, we're going to do that on our own, and they could have done their own thing. But to incorporate a community member that had put in all that time and effort, I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It probably shows you a lot of the mindset behind the scenes with that. But you mentioned your team. So you have SafeMoon Pulse, you have the Lowdown, you have the Sanctuary, and you have the Mooncast. Are different people in charge of different things there? Or how does that work?
Okay, so in the team, really, there is this kind of divide between education and news. That's kind of the split. Okay. You have Lowdown and Pulse, which is the news portion of the education side. Because at the end of the day, news is still education. Whether it is providing actual learning capabilities or it's just keeping you updated, it's still education. So Momo and Pulse take care of the Lowdown and the Pulse. And then we have then the Mooncast, which is mine and Gandalf's that we've been running well over a year now. And we've just done the change to not do it weekly because we wanted to provide more quality content. So it did get a little bit stale while it was quiet. So we've took it to the drawing board and said, look, we're only going to come and give you a Mooncast when we have something to talk about. So we've just done 3 in the last 2 weeks, which has been more consistent than just the 1 a week. So those are the 2 splits and divides. So Gandalf and me do Mooncast, and then they cover the Lowdown and Pulse. And then the Sanctuary is actually the moderators kind of baby. A group of moderators got together to just kind of give the community at least once a week an additional space on a different day, that sanctuary, to get away from any madness outside of the ecosystem and what's going on and everything like that. So that was them initiative to set up and say, look, we want to help too. And again, it's the initiative, which is great, because the moderators, the team, everyone that I work with, whether it is employed or non-employed, or if it's voluntary, it's a fantastic ecosystem internally. And yeah, you dream of having a great team around you, and that's what we have. So I can't appreciate anyone more for what everyone does.
Yeah, and I think that passion of all those people that you have mentioned shines through, because I think some of the research that I had done, I had seen you in like the sanctuary talking and helping, and people showing up to the other things, and just kind of a nice tight-knit group that all have the same passion, and it comes across. You can't miss it, you know. And I think when you can get those same like-minded people going and with that same goal, that's you guys. I don't think maybe you guys realize how strong you guys are for the community, that people can go and look at that and hear the same voices and the same message, because you don't have different people saying different things. I just commend you on being the glue that holds everything together. Mm-hmm. And you know, with that being said, like you said, there's that sanctuary space kind of comes into where I think a lot of spaces do, where you know they're trying to keep people informed, but you guys do an excellent job. And I would point out the Mooncast, just for my opinion, on the structure, on keeping things what would be the right way of saying it, on task, on topic, because I've went back and watched several that I had missed, and I learned a lot in a short amount of time because of the way it's structured. Was that your idea on how you structure the Mooncast, or did you get help with that, or how did that all come about?
Initially, it was, I wanted a format to kind of communicate, and it started before even Twitter Spaces existed. So that side of things and all the Twitter Spaces that exist today, I was doing this before that, and the way Discord did it, it was a new format, and it was a great way to communicate on essentially the stage, as they call it, and speak to an audience. And during that time, a lot of people showed up because they wanted to know the information. And yes, we did have to hit them with a lot of NDA questions. Mm-hmm. You know, we hate to say, oh, it's an NDA, but we'll get to it, and it will come, and it is just waiting for that answer to be able to go, here it is, there we go. But in terms of the structure, it was just initially a free-for-all of just see what happens. There was no structure. And then once we started to see that the community wanted it and more people showed up, and as it grew over the first 3, 4, 5 shows, yeah, I was like, right, okay, I need to think about this. Then we started live streaming them, because initially I recorded them. And then I said, you know what, let's just live stream them. At the end of the day, I'm going to be live to an audience. I'll live stream them here. And I just ran with it. And yeah, it's continued for the 52 weeks before we said, right, let's kind of cut away the nonsense that we didn't really need to do, because we have other formats for that, which Lowdown and Pulse cover the huge portion of the news that we looked to cover when there was nothing to cover. So yeah, which is why now SAFEMOON Pulse has her videos as well, as again another form of content in a different format. I'm all for using the same content and reusing it in so many different ways, because that gets more of a wider audience. Do you learn by visual? Do you learn by audio? Do you like to read a book? It's all, and we're trying to cater to all of that across everything education does.
Yeah, and I think you guys do a great job with that. My only suggestion would be that you probably need a separate tab for Holly on the Lowdown, because it seems like every time I read it, she's in there somewhere. She's sneaking around somewhere. So, but that is that brings me to the next thing I was just going to tell you, and I'm sure 1,000 people have told you this already, but getting the community involved in things like that is a big deal. I mean, people take a lot of pride in that, and Holly has her segment on our podcast, the HOLLITIVITY, and as we had talked about that, it was to bring that positive vibe to the space, to the podcast, because every little bit kind of catches fire. And I think that I am seeing more and more positivity stuff out there in the community. And it's not, I don't believe it's a competition to try to get into Holly's segment, but more and more of that, as we highlight that kind of stuff, then people are like, oh yeah, I could be more positive about that instead of being negative about it. So I think you guys do a really good job when it comes to keeping the community involved. When it comes to that, I look forward to it every week when it comes out, and going back and being able to watch like the old Mooncasts and things like that, because I like spoilers and rumor mills type stuff when it comes to like professional sports or wrestling or whatever it may be. And I love to go back 6 months earlier and say, okay, this is what everybody thought was going to happen, but this is where we're at, and to also though in the crypto world, that allows us to see how the team kind of changed focus and how they pivoted and how they were able to deal with different things that nobody would have foreseen, 6 months down the road or whatever. So I think it's a really good format that you guys have, and that you're using the different, like the Mooncast and the Lowdown and Pulse to get those points across. So kudos on that for sure. I did want to ask you some more personal questions though. What got you started in crypto? Like, not necessarily SAFEMOON, but just cryptocurrencies in general.
This goes all the way back to high school. So my high school security wasn't great. It was very much open. And yeah, it originally goes back to learning technology as a whole, and I was kind of like the go-to person in high school to get people through to the gaming websites when the school tried to block them, getting around it with the general stuff that when you're a kid at that time, I want to play games and all of that kind of stuff. So I was kind of like that. And then over time, I started to learn more about technology and the different things that they did. It got to the point where I did start mining on my old Dell PC. I was curious, didn't know what I was doing, but I was curious. And then I started to see, you can make money from this. I was like, cool. So then I was like, okay, how can I make this bigger? And now jump into the school, I started running it on the school server, and I started mining.
You're our hero.
So I started mining on the school server. I couldn't remember for the life of me what or how much I would have mined in Bitcoin at the time, but it was just mining Bitcoin. It did its thing. And eventually they did catch on, because I don't know if it was their power usage or something. I don't know how they caught on, but they caught on. And I did then get that all lost. They get in trouble for it though, because I did just prove a point that then they needed to upgrade. So so it all started with that, and kind of dwindled for a little bit because I played in video games and wanted to become a game designer at that point. And then, that took my passion out of it. I don't know why, but the passion for gaming at that time, I'd love to play them. And I thought, I want to play them. And then my mentality changed. It's like, this is taking the fun out of playing them. And I don't know why. For me, I was like, no. So then, I did my jobs here and there to the point where I was like, right, okay, now I have my own house, I can start thinking about investing. And I had that spare cash at the time, and it came back to 2021, where I ended up ultimately buying in Doge at that January last year hype. And I made money at that time, and I was like, cool, I've just made a lot of money. And then SAFEMOON came along, all from TikTok. I got into SAFEMOON via TikTok. It was a random spur of the moment thing, next 100x, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, right, okay, let's see what it is. I had a look about it. I watched it over 2 or 3 days as it evolved. And then thought, let's take a chance. And regardless of anything that happened from my investment side of things, I'm ultimately ecstatic with what has happened because of where I am and what the company has given me. It's a fantastic opportunity that they, one, believed in me and are continuing to believe in me with the focus on what education is going to do for the entire globe. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I don't think they could have picked a better guy. I think you do an excellent job with it for sure. You have a way of explaining things that I feel like an 8-year-old could understand, but at the same time, people that have been in crypto a long time, it like solidifies that idea of, oh, I was thinking about that correctly, because maybe I wasn't 100% sure. Because what we found in the cryptocurrency communities is a lot of times people like to pretend like they know what they know, like they think they know, because everybody's afraid to ask the question. And then, back in the high school days, the teachers just say there's no dumb questions. Somebody asks that quote unquote dumb question, and half the room goes, yeah, I want to know too, So I think you did awesome with that. Speaking of your gaming, so do you still play video games?
When I have free time. It's very rare these days, I will say. But when I have free time, yeah, when I can.
Do you have a favorite video game that you play?
At the minute, there's no true favorite. However, when I'm kind of doing stuff and I'm in between, if I'm editing a video or waiting for something to happen, I will jump onto TFT.
Okay.
So that's League of Legends auto chess. And it's just something I can have on an extra monitor. It takes 2 or 3 seconds. I can jump back. Oh, it's done it. And it's just jump back and forth. So in a way, it's kind of like chess, just the off chance, but it's a bit more fun and get you thinking, because you definitely need a change of scenery to think about something else to keep your day not so focused in words.
There you go. True that.
Yeah, absolutely. So outside of gaming and SAFEMOON, what are you passionate about?
Well, I think my name gives that away, to be fair.
I'm kind of throwing you lobbing that one up in the air for you, but
yeah. So me and my other half, well, it goes back to the story. I'll tell the story a little bit, give it a bit of a backstory. Is my other half ultimately wouldn't have been here without her cat, and there's a lot more in story in that, but that's the basis of it. Is she wouldn't have been here without her cat, and her cat Lily means absolute world to her, and has done ever since those days. Now, skipping forward, once we finally got together, I started to understand and learn more about her and her passions, and her passion was cats. And for me at the time, I was like, it's just a cat. It's like, okay. And then I started to learn more about cats, and I was like, oh, they're a lot more interesting than people first make out, of how intuitive and them. It's not a dog and a cat are completely two different things, and you have a dog and that is your best friend, that is, the family. But when I start looking at things a little bit differently for myself, I'm like, they're more interesting with what they do. They may sleep 90% of the time, but when they're awake, they have a way. And it was just like, right, okay, I clicked with it. And I was like, we had the one cat, and then we ended up rescuing a second cat, stuck in a car engine. I was like, right, now we got 2 cats. It's like, right, okay. And then a third one showed up. I was like, right, okay. When is this going to stop? And it didn't stop. And it got to the point now where we ended up starting a rescue. The back room of our house, we turned that into the rescue room, and have been trying to do our best. However, economy and everything like that has had to halt it, just because even some of the bigger rescues that rescue hundreds of cats every week are getting hammered at the minute. As with everything in this world at the moment, it's just hard. So we've halted on that. However, we still do have 3 cats to rehome, and we're not rushing these at the moment, because at the minute people are like, oh yeah, we can afford, and then we've had 2 cats back, so it's like we're taking a slower approach on that. But yeah, running the cat rescue is a passion, and as I will quote, I want to be built by crypto but inspired by cats.
I don't know.
like it.
Yeah.
So I guess we know what you're gonna spend your riches on whenever your crypto investments moon.
1000%. The goal is to have a load of land and have a house, obviously, but separate the house and have an outhouse building or a center or whatever you want to call it, and just have the cats roam the land, because it is hard to see even just any rescue center, dogs, cats, or any animal, when you were walking down that aisle, as they would call it, and just seeing them. I don't want to do that. But besides that, we do also want to open a cat's coffee shop, and run that. I feel like that is very much the go-to for rehoming, whether it's dogs, cats, or anything, any other animal that's in rescues. Having a option to give a diverse way of rehoming than just going down again the aisle. I never want to see that aisle. The aisle, in my eyes, should never exist. I understand why it exists, but it shouldn't. And yeah, so hopefully we will be the first in Northern Ireland to open a cat's coffee shop.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: how do you fund this?
Right now, it's out of my back pocket.
So
Everything.
Do you have a way for people to donate to your rescue?
I do. They can find it. If it is they want to find it, they can go ahead and find it. I will never publicize it.
Okay.
Regardless of if I was doing it from a business account or anything like that. I don't want to be funded by donations. I want to be funded by a resource of offering a service, not just for rescuing the cats, but offering a product, whether it's you buy a cat tree or you buy a cup of coffee or whatever it is. I want to give you something in return for your money. And that's the mentality that I've stuck with since we started it on day one.
So in your coffee shop, are you going to have the cats walking around? Can you do that, or?
So unfortunately not, because
Okay.
health and safety, because when I was looking into it, health and safety were like, no.
Okay.
Coffee, hair, cats, no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is a design aspect we're going through where we could have it so that, in a way, the humans are in the cage, but not. So you have the
Yeah.
front door of the coffee shop that leads into a cage, which is then the coffee shop, and that is the main area. And then the outside and the edges of the walls and everything like that is then the cats. So you can still go up to them, stroke them, but they're not in a cage. They're all free roaming, having fun, climbing cat trees or whatever. So there's a design aspect we can play around with to kind of keep the barrier as close as we can without having someone drink a hairball in their coffee or whatever.
Okay.
Is the front door gonna be like a cat door, like a plastic cat door flap?
Like human size?
Yeah.
I think that's very cool, though, man. And when people, you can always tell when people are passionate about something, and it's very cool that you found that thing outside of crypto or gaming or the norm that you can put your talents to and your passion towards. And I know I speak for all of us when we wish you the best of luck, man. And if you ever change your mind, we would have no qualms putting something out there that people could donate to. But I respect what you say. But if you do change your mind, let us know. But
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's very cool. Holly, did you have anything to ask or anything, Cats, that you wanted to discuss that we haven't talked about yet?
Nothing on my side. I feel like, I've just known cats forever. So if I have a question, I always go to them. But no, I just thank you so much for being here. I am so excited that you actually reached out to me, and that is so exciting. I wanted you. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. But I was scared. I was like, I don't know if that's okay to ask him. So yeah, I'm just really excited that we got to do this with you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you one more question before we get into the HOLLITIVITY segment. What are you the most excited about in general about cryptos moving forward? Is there one area that you are excited for or looking forward to, or fill in the blank?
It's a hard question because there's DeFi, as we all know, moves a mile a minute, and it is just moving so fast with all the innovation that is happening across the space. So I would have to think of it from a bigger picture of just being able to transition from the locked asset that is fiat. It is so locked, and just being able to have that freedom of your own funds, for me, means more than anything. And we could all talk about how banks are structured and everything else and how they profit. There's loads that goes into it, but for me, it's being the free that they say that fiat is meant to be. And yeah, I want the freedom to be able to have control over what I want to have control over. I understand that there is obviously rules to be put in place, and we will always follow them, but it's still having the freedom to be like, I can do what I want with my money, and I don't have to put it where you say I have to put it.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
like that.
Yeah,
That's
you're speaking our language, man. So we were a fan beforehand, but I can guarantee you that we are bigger fans now. Like I said, really appreciate your time. And was there anything else that you wanted to discuss before we moved on with the program?
And I'm excited to be able to communicate with everyone the journey that we are on and the journey that we've had to get to where we are going to be. So I'm just excited, and I can't appreciate everyone enough for the support that we've had to be able to get to where we're going to be. It takes a long time. Product development isn't easy. There's a lot of steps, and as you said earlier in the show, the Orbital Shield has gone through so many different iterations over the last week and a half, that we are listening to the community's feedback. And when you get hands on the products, and the biggest thing to say is the wallet in its iteration of its initial MVP state, which was the minimal viable product. It was there, it was delivered, and the evolution that's happened to that, it's becoming so much more. And if you can kind of see the vision of what the wallet is going through, then that all that needs to be said. And yeah, I'm excited. I am excited for it all.
Awesome. Well, not to let you completely off the hook, after Holly gets done with her HOLLITIVITY segment, Caleb's going to have some questions for you, but they're going to be a little bit of lighter nature. So, Holly, the floor is yours.
Well, so today for HOLLITIVITY, I actually, chose somebody who kind of goes hand in hand with cats, and that is SAFEMOON Pulse. So the other day she had tweeted out, be somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody. And that was one of my favorite, tweets that I have ever, came across. And I've had it saved for quite some time. And I feel like what better time to use it than when Katz is here, because, they are partners when it comes to education. Pulse has been around for a while with SAFEMOON. And not only is she providing the education, she provides that positivity. And she really does a very good job at making people feel like somebody. And so it just really, the fact that she tweeted that out is just kind of who she is. It just shows who she is. And it is the truth. She does make every single person that comes across her feel that way, to feel important. And Pulse has, she's been a friend for a while. I appreciate everything she does. I appreciate our conversations when we have them. And she's just one of my favorites. So I thought, what better day to highlight Pulse than today?
That's awesome.
Yeah, give her a round of applause.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yay,
You know what, Holly, with your HOLLITIVITY segment, and most people know our story by now, but we've been in the game for a long time, but just new to Twitter about March-ish. It is incredible of how many good people are out in the community. Even with you spotlighting them once a week, I feel like we're never going to run out of things to put in that segment, because there's just so many awesome people. And, kudos to all the people out there for that too. It's like a big family, and it's awesome. So
Pretty awesome, Caleb.
with that being said, it's about that time, Greg.
It's time for Caleb's choice.
His choice.
His rules.
All right.
Our first question for today was, if you remember, what was the first game you played on a console or PC?
First video game?
First video game. I'll go first.
We're going to show our age here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't,
First video game? I know
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll say Atari Dig Dug. Probably my first one.
Dig Dug on Atari.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Atari.
I'm old.
How? Yeah, I was getting out. You said it.
You've probably never even played Atari.
Oh, I played Atari. Oh my goodness. Mine was Super Mario Bros. With Duck Hunt
Ah.
and the track and field,
NES.
the combo NES.
Did you
yeah.
have the map that you had to...
I do.
run on
I
it?
did, and I still have it.
Everybody
the
was
gun.
like cheating and they were using their hands.
Oh yeah, I did
trying to
that.
be real fast.
Hardcore. Yep.
Holly, what was your first video game that you ever played?
You guys, I feel like I'm just really aging myself. And, I honestly, it's Pong.
Yeah.
Pong,
Okay.
the two paddles
Yeah.
with the ball that goes back and forth on Atari.
Yep.
Well,
I
Holly,
love that. I still like that game. Don't ask me why, but I do. It's challenging still. So
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
so
That's-
even though we've never talked about it, you and I must be roughly kind of in the same generation because mine is on the original Atari 2. It's Space Invaders. That was probably
yeah.
the first
Yeah.
video game I ever played on a console with Space Invaders. And I haven't played it in a long time. Cats, what about you?
There's two, because I can't remember which one I played first, but the first one was Gex.
Gex. Okay, I know Gex.
Yeah, so that was the first one. It's all PS1 games because that was the first console I ever owned. The other one was Theme Park World for the PS1.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I never had or was able to afford, or my parents were never able to afford the memory cards for the console, and
Yeah.
there was no way to save it, and I couldn't save it. But I was so happy with the actual theme park, so then I ended up having to leave my PlayStation on for like 5 days, and
Oh.
I was like, I couldn't change games, I couldn't do anything because I didn't have it. So
Oh.
yeah, those two.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
The
That's
struggle was
dedication.
real.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
dedication.
Like kids
man.
don't know in today's age what we used to go through.
Uh-uh.
All right. My second question for today is: what's your favorite detective TV show? In the past or present?
Detective TV show.
Yeah.
What's yours? You have to go first since your question.
Yeah.
I'll probably
Every
say
time.
the original CSI. I enjoyed that one.
You're an original kind of guy.
I'm original.
Holly, do you have one?
I mean, so it's kind of detective, right? But it's the first 48.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I love that show. I love how they go through to figure out,
Mm-hmm.
the crimes that are being committed, and within the 48 hours that they have. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Weren't you just talking about that show?
Yeah.
Somebody was
that's a
talking
good
about
one.
that just
Somebody
the other
was,
day.
yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but
Maybe it's Holly.
Cats, how about you? Do you have one?
Because of my boy Daryl, German Shepherd, it has to be Hudson and Rex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What about you? Is it gonna be weird?
No.
It's gonna be weird.
Does Batman count?
Sure. Scooby-Doo.
That's how it started. No, I'd say Blacklist.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that's
really
a good
like.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one.
I would have to go with if this counts, the Shield.
Nah.
Because they were detectives in the police
Greg says
department.
no.
But if you've never seen the Caleb, take care of my light work. If
I've
you've
seen
never seen the Shield that was on FX, I don't know how many years ago.
FX.
It had to be 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
To me, that is one of the greatest television shows of all time. It is unbelievably well made, and the story was awesome. But I'd go with the Shield.
Okay. All right. The last one for today is: what Olympic sport would you like to try?
Without dying?
It can be summer or winter.
Oh, I know this one. I didn't have to think.
I'd
about
say
this one.
bobsledding.
Oh, you,
wouldn't
stole
fit in a
mine.
bobsled.
It'd be a single
Oh,
bobsled.
that's a good one. Dang it.
Oh,
I forgot about
Yeah.
I was gonna say bobsled too.
Well, then you
Cool
guys
runnings,
can do
man.
You can do the
tandem.
luge.
What?
Right, cool running.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Jamaica bobsled team.
But I am
Okay.
not
I
getting in a bobsled with you two. That is not happening.
Well, me and Caleb will do it.
Yeah, good luck. I'll push you, but I'm just not going to jump in.
We'll film it for the podcast.
There you go.
One of you guys want to go first before me? Because I'm still thinking.
Struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I'll go ahead and go while you guys think. I think the only one that I could do that wouldn't kill me is I could probably do the curling thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think I'm going to die. But if you want me to
So is
run
that
or
the
do
one
all
where
that other
you
stuff,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
That's the one I was thinking, but I didn't know what it was called. But I want to be the little sweeper.
Okay,
I
you guys
don't want
can
to be
on
the
team.
sweeper.
Yeah.
I just want to push the stone. So I'll push the stone,
You
you
sweep.
sweep the ice.
Yeah, me and my sister all thinking
We'll go
about
win
how
a
to do
gold.
that in the warehouse the other day with brooms.
Cats, did you think of one?
For me, any form of gymnastics, I've always wanted to be flexible,
Okay.
and I feel like I'm not. And even when I try, I'm not. So I would love to be flexible in some kind. So trampolining, the walking on the bar, flipping on the bar thing, whatever that's called, anything like that.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
would
wish I
kill
was-
me though.
Yeah, I just see
Because
broken
I am not
bones all over
flexible
the
either,
place.
Cats. I'm right there with you, but I would die.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Holly, what question do you have for us today?
All right, mine is a little difficult.
Oh, great.
Oh no.
So, are you ready? Which
yeah.
comes first, chicken or eggs for a chicken?
Which comes first, chicken or eggs or chicken?
Uh-huh.
Chicken.
Ha! I told you.
I say chicken comes first.
But how does the chicken even get there without being an egg?
You ever seen I Dream of Jeannie?
That's
That's how.
How do you
But the same argument could be made for how does the egg get there if there's no chicken?
Exactly. So that's why it's difficult.
Hey, the smartest man in the room is actually on Zoom. Cats, what's the answer?
I can't say it's a answer, but that question is kind of tricking you to think just about a chicken and an egg of a chicken. But if you think more long term of the entire world, then theoretically an egg comes before the chicken. Because eggs, dinosaur eggs, any type of egg before a chicken existed before a chicken. So therefore an egg should theoretically become first.
okay.
Yep. I get
So an
mine.
egg
I
in
am
general
right
is
there
what
with
you're
that.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
thanks
had to throw out,
thanks for giving me a headache, Holly.
Yeah.
I spent a long week and all of a sudden it's like,
That's what I'm here for, hey.
Hey.
Hard question.
all right. So we are to the taste
That's-
test time,
Mhm.
and if Holly gets out of the blockchain
The
because she's
blockchain.
frozen,
She's frozen.
oh, we
Am I
can-
still frozen?
She just troned it.
you're
Yeah.
smiling really pretty, but you're not moving.
Oh,
One day she's all
why?
in. Boom.
How are we doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We-
Yes.
You can
Oh,
hear
there
you.
you are.
You're catching up.
Yeah, there it
It's like
is.
slow motion. The
Yeah.
Matrix.
Wait, is that better?
Yeah, you're back.
You're
You're
back.
back.
Okay.
So we'll let you introduce it.
Taste test time. I got this cool box of, it is called Toxic Waste Sour Candy.
Mm.
Of
So
course.
we all came together and decided we were going to try the Toxic Waste Nuclear Infusion.
Ooh.
And it's in this little tiny package. So to me, it's kind of wartheadish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Like, I feel like it's kind of like a warhead.
Yes.
So,
I like warheads.
With that being said, you ready, cats?
What color do you have, Holly?
So my color is pink. Go
Okay.
figure.
I'm gonna go
Cat, what
green.
color do you got?
A green to go with SAFEMOON.
Yep,
Oh, there you
I
go.
want
Perfect.
green too.
Yep.
Oh, orange.
Mine's like a reddish pink.
Cheers.
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 We lost Holly in the blockchain
You
again.
froze.
Mmm. That's good.
Pretty sour.
Oh, mine's really sour. Mine
Yeah.
is really sour.
It was our sour.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sour.
Woo!
Yep.
It's so sour that
Cats
Holly
is enjoying
froze.
Here, give me
Ooh.
3 at a time here.
Am I on the block train still?
No,
Nope.
you're good. But we kind of missed your reaction.
No, we got
We
the
got
end of
frozen reactions.
Yeah, it's pretty sour, guys. Like still, like usually it goes away. Mine's not going away.
You okay, Cats?
Yeah.
Getting there.
He's like, screw you guys. I'm never coming back on.
it. Hey, it's not dishwater, okay?
I would tell you that was way better than dill pickle cotton candy. I don't
That
care
was
what
good.
Greg says. It was way better than the Bean Boozled thing.
True.
It was better
Yeah,
than any of those
I-
sodas we drank. But
Like that, it was so sour, my eyes are watering.
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm not going to tell you what the taste test for next week is. If I can find it right now, it's sold out. If it comes available next week's taste test should be very, very interesting. But I may have to pivot because right now it's sold out. So we shall see. But as we close this out today, guys, is there anything that anybody we didn't discuss? We want to be respectful for Katz's time, and we're pushing up against that limit. But was there anything that anybody wanted to say? Anything that we didn't cover that we could do real fast? Because if not, that's cool. But we're gonna give Holly the floor, and we're gonna let her go ahead and end our podcast for us. So Holly, the floor is yours.
Okay, so once again, Kat, thank you so much for being on here. But we did kind of want to end our podcast with kind of a special message. We lost a community member this week. Not only was she, a crypto community member, she was also a big community member within the NFT community. She was a wonderful artist, and you can find, some of her art on Explore NFT if you wanted to see that. And, most people know her by Miss K. Some know her by Kelly, but the majority of us knew her as a friend. So with that being said, we put together, we put together a little slideshow, and at the end of that slideshow is a wallet address that the community has came together and set up for her boys. It will be going directly to immediate family and her children. So if you haven't donated and would like to, we will post a link as well to be able to donate to that wallet. I do want to give a huge shout out to our community that you guys have came together, and it's up to $5,700.
That's awesome. That's good.
So with that being said, shoot. Okay. With that being said, we do need to remember that there is somebody behind that computer screen and that phone, and it is very important that you be kind to one another, because you just don't know what somebody is going through. So with that being said, everybody have a great time. Cats, thank you so much for being on the show, and that's it. Just be kind.